Hello and welcome back to episode 19 of my AllTheMods10 SSP playthrough. In this episode, I would like to start automating all of these machines from Industrial Foregoing and get a second spawn room. The first thing though that I do want to do is I want to place these levers here on the sides of these machines and tell them all to just run while a redstone signal is active. So for these, they should, yeah, run while it's active. So if we turn it off, they should both be off. Perfect. Yes, I am making sense. It just didn't make sense in my head. So these machines, again, we are making them use power, so I don't want them to be running all the time, though. So for these four, I'm going to go ahead and turn it off because our basic fluid tank is completely full. I will be probably upgrading this in this episode as well, but we do want these to still be running. I do want more rubber or plastic, or yeah, more plastic from the dried rubber. So we're going to let these run for now, but save on a little bit of power by turning these off here. I do want to, though, go ahead and make the first couple of machine upgrades by hand for, all of, well, these machines before we start automating them. We do want again, a speed upgrade. So we're going to make the tier 1 to start off with, which is just some gold gears, sugar, glass, and redstone. And then we are going to want this to, I will just, again, immediately bring this up to tier 2 because we can, because it's just latex. The tier 3, though, does require pink slime. It also requires specifically netherite scrap. So we are going to probably in the future be looking at a way to basically turn netherite back into netherite scrap. I think there's a machine from Mechanism specifically, if I recall. Oh, that's for Ancient Debris, actually. There is a combiner, so we can take some netherite dust and some basalt and turn that back into an Ancient Debris block. We will be getting into this in the future just so we can not have to worry about Ancient Debris specifically. So making the first speed upgrade and then turning this into the second tier here. And I am going to grab the efficiency tier 1 that we already had and make that into an efficiency tier 2. And I am also going to get it's called a processing add-on from Industrial Foregoing. So basically just means we get more things per event, essentially. So we will be able to get more pink slime and more liquid meat. Not that we need any more liquid meat, but we will be able to get more per blaze kill here. And with all those upgrades made, we'll go ahead and put them all in, and it is using 400 FE, which isn't bad at all. And look at our pink slime go up. I think this should now be keeping up more or less with the number of blazes that are spawning. Yes, it looks like it is. It looks like it mostly clears out by the time the next one spawns in, so perfect. We will be turning these into tier 3 as well in the future. So we already got a decent amount of pink slime. We almost have 20 buckets worth. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this and bring it over to here and empty it out into this container. And we'll keep it here for right now. And yeah, so again, we're going to eventually replace this with the mob crusher. And we're going to make a separate spawn room specifically for the pink slime so we can constantly supply this. So I actually went ahead and brought the liquid pink slime back over here and let this run for maybe like 5 or so, maybe closer to 10 minutes. And it is all filled up completely now. In the time, I realized that this has not had a wool block connected to it. So I am going to place a wool block on it. It's going to be silent. So the blazes shouldn't make any more noise from this point out. I also grabbed an advanced and an elite tier staller, so we can turn these back on and just let this fluid tank fill up. The other thing I did was I made a little bit of a tunnel here to go ahead and drag these cables over so that we can place a couple of, let's see, pattern providers in the back here. And if we take a look at the recipes for the dissolution chamber, we're not going to want to autocraft all of them immediately. So for like the latex ones, honestly, autocrafting all of the range upgrades I'm not incredibly interested in. What I am interested in is, let's see, the efficiency is like the upgrading tiers of items. So, oh, and it looks like with Essence we can actually get a processing tier 4. I actually wasn't aware of that. That is pretty cool. So we will start off with the tier 1 here. Yeah, so let's just go ahead and search industrial add-on. Perfect. So we're going to want the speed tier 1. We know how to craft the redstone again. We're going to get rid of the essence. We are going to need to teach this how to autocraft a handful of things. So the first things first is the glass panes. The next thing is the golden gears. And then the next thing is the sugar. And since making the nature essence, we can now automate the sugarcane from the essence itself. Now with all that placed, again, get rid of the resin there. We'll go ahead and make the tier 1 automatable. And with this, we should just need to make a diamond gear, teach the system how to make that, and we should be all good to go for the tier 2 because we're going to be putting the tier 1 back in. And then we'll go for the add-on for the efficiency. Let's see, efficiency, and then the processing here. So with the efficiency tier 1, it does require blaze rods. Again, after we get the mob crusher all set up, we're literally not going to have to worry about any of that. So get rid of the speed. We'll teach it also how to make, yes, the tier 2 efficiency. And that should be a tier 1, tier 2. And then the processing, we actually haven't taught it how to make a furnace. That is funny that we haven't had to do that up until this point in time. But we'll go ahead and make the processing tier 1 and then the processing tier 2. Now, all of these do require latex, so we'll go ahead and place them all in here, and we're going to make sure that everything else is disabled besides for this, the back, which is enabled. I think this should work. So if we request, awesome, a processing tier, let's actually get a speed tier 2. We should see it, yes, go ahead and making the tier 1, and then it should export. No, this is what I was fearing. So we might have to pipe this out. Again, this really doesn't play well with other mods unless I am missing something. Item conduits. Yeah, so let's make some item conduits from Ender.io and come underneath of here and let me figure out a way to make this better. I think if I actually just go ahead and break this and dig out back here and connect these cables up the back here, I think I can, ooh, okay. Let's see, messing all kinds of stuff up here, but let's put the item pipe here and then the other item pipe here. And we'll use the extract on green for this one and then the insert on green. So we have the speed tier 1 upgrade in there. We'll go ahead and make this always active. Please work. Oh, right. We need the bottom to be enabled. Yes, there we go. Okay. So then, yes, this one actually will export the items directly into one of the conduits. So perfect. Now we have that set up. So yeah, we're going to need to basically do the same thing for all of them, but we do want it to go back into the same pattern provider. So I'm going to go ahead and set this one up here, but I'm going to extract this on brown. And this is not going to interfere with the fluid conduit bundles. So I know we have a extract on brown for the latex for those, but this is for items, so it will be different. We'll go ahead and insert on brown to the ME pattern provider. But the next thing that we're going to want to automate with the latex machine is the simple machine frame. So it is the basically just next tier up. We don't have the plastic auto craftable, and we don't have netherrack quite yet auto craftable, but that's why I did want to go ahead and make the nether essence that we should have in our system. Yes, so it's not probably going as fast as I would like it to, but so we can now automate the bricks as well for bring those over here to our smelter. And we can go ahead and craft up this simple machine frame, again, getting rid of the latex. I will go ahead, what I would like to do, I think with the dry rubber is I would like to auto import that into our system, but then maybe have a dedicated smelter to smelting up the dry rubber, because this is literally only used to get the plastic. So we don't need to have this actually in our system or for it to be stored. I'm just thinking if that would be a good idea to have a separate dedicated smelter, or if we should actually store just the dry rubber and then craft it on command. I'm still debating on which one to do. But for now, we can go ahead and put the simple machine frame in here. And just to make sure that it is working, we'll go ahead and request one here. And it looks like it crafted successfully. Looks like we now have a simple machine frame. And then we are going to want to automate the advanced machine frame as well. And this one does require the pink slime here. And this is kind of what I was talking about regarding the netherite scrap. So we might actually have to switch gears because we don't have a way to get the ancient debris. The only real way is to put a netherrack through a lens of the miner from an atomic reconstructor from Actually Editions, but it's a weight of 1. And so if we take a look, the lower the weight, the less and less likely it is to occur. So the weight of 3,000 is for nether quartz, the weight of 500 is for gold ore, the nether gold ore, and then the ancient debris is weight of 1. So this is not at all in the slightest a reliable way to get ancient debris. Really the only way is to automate the basalt here, which we are going to need to then make some ice essence. But so, yeah, I think that would probably be, in my opinion, the best way to go about doing that. At least until we get into productive bees, though, because it looks like the ancient bee will drop a netherite scrap, but that still doesn't... It helps us with this, it would, but it wouldn't help us with the ancient debris kind of problem that we have, because, again, some of these recipes do require an actual ancient debris. I don't know, something to look into. I think I am going to go with the mechanism way, though. So I think we are going to switch gears here quickly and just go ahead and make the combiner. I do want to also get some, just go ahead and get some tier upgrades, get this upgraded to the advanced tier. And we'll go ahead and get this set up right beside our infusion factories. We do want auto sorting on, and we are going to want to configure this for a specific way. So I am a little bit rusty with AdvancedAE. I grew up with Applied Energistics before all of these add-ons kind of started piling on. I'm more familiar with Extended AE. Advanced AE is where I start to lose knowledge. But if I remember correctly, there is an advanced pattern provider that can allow you to kind of control specific or certain inventory slots. So if we are making these ancient debris from the combiner, we are going to need the basalt to go into the extra slot. And so I believe there is a way with the advanced pattern provider to be able to do that from just one side instead of having to pipe your items out and then back in. So I am probably going to mess a little bit with this off camera and then come back when I kind of see a solution. Aha! So I did a little bit of reading, and yes, I was correct. So we can use an advanced pattern provider to determine basically what items go where on which face of this machine. So I did configure it properly, where the back again is the input output, bottom's energy, and the top here is the extra. And with this, we do need an advanced pattern encoder, which is just some charge service quartz, some redstone, and an engineering processor. So you'll make the pattern like normal. So if I come back over here, and we'll just use this as an example, or I'll shift click this to get rid of it. We go ahead and create this pattern. So right now it's just a regular processing pattern. If we come back over here, we are going to want to draw up our F3 menu. So if we right click this and put this processing pattern into the advanced pattern encoder, we can tell this machine that, hey, the netherite dust, we want it to enter into the north face of the machine. So if we look here at the cardinal direction right around here where my mouse is, we are facing north. So this is the north face of the machine, which we have in here configured to be the input and output. We are then going to want the up face of the machine to the top to insert the basalt, and it's going to keep the regular processing pattern with the 2 netherite dust and the 1 basalt. And then we just go ahead and place this in here, and if we request an ancient debris, we should see, yep, the netherite dust coming in here and the basalt going into the extra slot. So whenever we need ancient debris now, and I accidentally took a screenshot, we can go ahead and do that. So perfect. Yes, so need to do a little bit of brushing up on that. I thought I remembered there was a way, but yes. So any like kind of difficult, complex, or just tedious recipes where there needs to be I guess a slot in the extra, so I guess it would work for these infusion factories as well. I just like to have them constantly supplied with the enrichment so we don't have to worry about crafting them every single time. But this could be another alternative for these as well. But with that, we are going to teach our system also now how to make the netherite scrap. We do get 2 from the enrichment chamber per ancient debris. So I feel like that's a little bit more bang for your buck. So we'll do that for the time being. But now we should be able to, if we look at the advanced machine frame, we should now be able to craft the netherite scrap here. So awesome. Yeah, so just a slight detour with that. Now we're going to be back to Industrial Foregoing. We'll go ahead and put that pattern in here, and we should be able to request an advanced machine frame now. And it looks like everything went through successfully. We got our advanced machine frame, and now we can make the mob crusher after we make a couple of gold gears and an iron sword. I am really quickly going to, off camera, make 2 extra tier 2 speed and tier 2 efficiency upgrades for these machines. And now that I'm thinking about it, we can actually teach our network to make all of the tier 3 add-ons for Industrial Foregoing. So I will go ahead and do that. And again, probably just go ahead and make all of them. They do all require, though, the pink slime. So we are going to be kind of limited for the time being with how many of these we can do. But I want to go ahead and teach our system at the very least and have this. We'll go ahead and move this actually as well. Go ahead and move this and get this to always extract. So this should last us for a decent while. Not too worried about that, but we will go ahead and looks like I think we have our processing at tier 2s as well. Perfect. So let's go ahead and make the mob crusher as our next item. We'll go ahead and remove both of these. So with the mob crusher, again, we are going to need the same range upgrade just so it can encompass the entire area. I will also probably make the tier 3 upgrades as well. But as you can see here, it is a little bit of a different interface. We do have all of these orange output slots, which will be the mob drops. And we have this fluid, which is going to be the essence that it can have. So we can do one of two things. You can either route the liquid essence directly into your AE network, which is probably what I am going to opt for, or what we can do is we can reroute the liquid experience into a dissolution chamber. So we will probably have to make another one if we do it that route. And a dissolution chamber with like nothing in it will get you just straight up bottles of enchanting. So we can make these by putting the experience or the essence here through a dissolution chamber. It will spit out a bottle of enchanting per 250 millibuckets. And then you can set up like an XP shower or an advanced clicker from Just Dire Things to give you the experience. But I think I am going to probably get a fluid cell and a large fluid cell at that. To be able to hold the fluid experience. So in order to get everything into our system properly, again, we are going to need a fluid storage cell. These go up in tiers just like the item storage cells do. However, I do for this fluid storage cell want to make the 64K one because even though they can hold 18 types, we're only going to put liquid experience into this one. So I'm going to teach this the fluid cell, and we'll go ahead and make that. While that is crafting, I do want to get the cell workbench. So we haven't made this item yet, but this is going to be helpful in order to basically filter what fluids can and can't go in. You can also do this with regular, item storage cells. I typically kind of just go with the flow. I like to let it run with whatever it wants to do, really. But with the fluids specifically, I do want to go ahead and place the essence from Industrial Foregoing into here. So it can only hold that, and it can hold a lot of it. So go ahead and place that at the bottom corner there. And after running the energy conduits up into the bottom side of this, I am just going to let this run for a little while. Go ahead and turn that on and let the drops can just happen here. So we are going to want to do a couple of things. First, we're going to want an import bus. We are going to want to import all of this into our system. But what we don't really want, we don't want the Blaze instruction manuals, nor the like unique gems or whatever that do come from this. So we are going to also set up a trash can with a basic filter that basically says, hey, we are going to whitelist all of these things and then just export the rest. So there might be a better way to do this, but in my head, this is the easiest way. So I'm going to set up this import bus to import the blaze rods, the molten cores, and the essence from Industrial Foregoing. And then I am going to have a trash can over here. And I actually haven't decided this yet, or I don't know this yet. I do need to let it run. I actually don't know if the trash can ignores or like if it, I don't know, ignores or doesn't ignore MBT data. So all these gems do have their own MBT data. I'm not entirely sure. I am also going to want to put the ash in the whitelist here. So you can whitelist or blacklist trash cans. Actually, that would make more sense to actually let me go ahead and turn this off is to blacklist the molten cores and the blaze rods here. So that actually should be better. So like even so since it's a blacklist, I can't put this in, I can't put this in, but I can put the ash in, for example. And then we're going to import specifically whitelist the blaze rods, molten cores, and the essence. And so let's go ahead and connect that up here. Probably we'll try to make some conduits and such in the future. But what I do want to do is, and I did make the basic filter from Ender.io. I was just debating which way to go, which way I thought would be the best way to go about it, because this does ignore MBT data and just having that export into the trash can itself. But I think this is an overall better way. So we are going to want some acceleration cards from Ender.io. We also are going to want some extraction upgrades for Ender.io. So both of these combined, this should pretty much, yes, okay. So if we're blacklisting that, oh, because we turn that off, we do want that always active. So in our system, if we look up gems, I don't think I've put any of the gems in my system in the past. If any of the gems are going into our system, we will know sooner rather than later. That is for sure. So with that, all of the essence is also going into our system. So if we go back, excuse me, blazes, we should see that the fluid storage is going up. Yes, we already have, what is that, like 110 buckets. That is pretty good. I don't think it's one. I don't know. I don't see a dot in there, but yeah, we are going to need to set up another storage drawer for the blaze rods and for the molten cores. So I went ahead and got the storage drawers all set up, and I also cleaned up this room a little bit, but I think for the future I probably won't mention or show setting it up, the storage drawers, on camera, since we've done it so many times at this point. But if y'all would like me to do that or to show it, just let me know. Also made another pickaxe with silk touch specifically. The reason for why is because I think I would like both for some ice seeds, so I went out and got some ice, but I also wanted another mob spawner so we can go ahead and get the mob slaughter factory room set up. We're not going to have time to set it up in this episode, but I at least want to get it prepared. So in order to get a spawner, you can do one of two things to my knowledge. The first way is to break it regularly without silk touch, and you receive one of these broken spawners from Ender.io. This can be used to be turned into a powered spawner, again from Ender.io, of the respective mob. However, the second way you can obtain a spawner is by mining it with silk touch, and you'll get the apothic spawner version of that spawner, which is the mod and method that I opted for. So I just went out really quickly. There is like a barbarian village right over here, and so just a ton of barbarian spawners. So I went ahead and, yeah, just went out and got the ice, got the spawners. But I don't want this spawner to be a barbarian spawner. It would probably still work just fine. But for example's sake, I do want to turn this into another blaze spawner, just to show y'all that it's possible, and because we will be doing this in the future for when we need specific mobs. So the first thing that we are going to need is a mob swab. And you can right-click on mobs with these, just stick into wool, and you can collect their DNA. And so now this turns a little bit, I don't know, green, yellowish, and you can use this to turn it into GM chicken feed, which needs just any type of seed and a bucket of XP. So we are going to need to set up our, blazes. So we are going to need to set up, our slice and splice with the experience. So I'm going to go ahead and put a fluid tank above here, and I am going to tell our system to export the XP that we are, or the essence that we are importing into our system. So this should now be filling up. It is going to fill this up first, but with this we can go ahead now and take a bucket and right click that and get the essence bucket. And now we can make the GM chicken feed. Then with the chicken feed, we are going to need to come out here and find a chicken. I think there might be a few that I haven't offed somewhere out here. So I went ahead and found a chicken. If we right click it with the feed, it's going to explode. Say happy birthday taco. That's like my favorite part. I always love that. Makes me giggle every time. But by doing that, we can get the blaze spawn egg. And if we come back home here and place down the barbarian spawner and right click the spawner with the spawn egg, you can now see it has turned into a blaze spawner. So now we do have another blaze spawner here. You can do this with just about every and any mob, so it's very, very useful if you are looking for a specific type of spawner, and either just one doesn't spawn naturally or you're having trouble finding it. Any spawner will work, but you will need to find the mob specifically, as well as a chicken to get the spawn egg. But so that is about everything that we had time to go over in this episode. In the next episode, we're definitely going to be looking to setting up the mob slaughter factory, as well as setting up the ice seeds. Again, I'll probably just expand the farm with the remaining seeds that we need, all the resource seeds as well as the ice seeds here off camera. And then we'll start next episode by setting up the mob slaughter factory and expanding Industrial Foregoing. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you on the next one.